Trent, it's one of those things. We're recording now. Hopefully,
Yeah.
all goes well. But yo, it's one of those things though, Trent, where it's like I'm starting to think about things not only on some like, yo, I don't care, man. Like, oh, Graham, what happens if you don't get the job or whatever? And then I'm just like, yeah, I don't care about that. Blah blah blah. I realize a lot of times in recent months, I've been on some like, I don't give a shit about what certain people think, but at the same time, there's a little bit of value in that, bro. Like you being able to um take somebody else's maybe suggestion or constructive criticism or whatever and not just automatically shit on it, not just automatically be like, man, I don't give a shit about what they got to say or whatever the case is. Not saying letting anyone have control over you, but just genuinely listening and thinking to yourself, okay, well, is there any type of like validity to what they're saying? Because I realize, like, yeah, man, a lot of times I've been shitting on people who, especially like certain people who love me and shit, as far as just when they give me some type of good information. And then I just kind of brush it off as if, like, man, I got it. You know what I mean? I don't know if you've ever been, like, recently or just within your life, you've been faced with these situations.
Yeah, a lot of, especially when I was younger, I did a lot of that, like thought I knew everything and did it all like that. And hindsight, I'm like, well, if I had been smart at this point, but that's just me and how I live my life at this point. Yeah, it's tend to be like pig-headed that way as well myself sometimes. Like I know the best, but now nowadays I'm a lot better at listening to like outside criticisms and whatnot. But yeah, I still have the I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna do what I want to do mentality.
That's
Like
all good.
whatever makes sense to me, and whatever, like at the end of the day, I gotta live with me, and that's the end of it. Nobody else does. So
Bro, that's 100% fact. And it is true. We do have to live with, like, you got to live with you, I got to live with me. But it's more of just, we 100% can have the, like, man, I don't give a shit type of attitude, and nothing's wrong with that. But on the flip side, I was just thinking to myself, like, dang, because think of how many people, like, we all, of course, to the point you just made up, we got to live with us. It's you who's going to make that decision, going to deal with that consequence, good or bad, whatever, right? So it's like I get it, but on the flip side, it just sucks because when we have like dope ass people in our lives, like whether it's parents, whatever, siblings, dope brother, dope sister, whatever, and then you think to yourself like, man, hey, ultimately, yes, it's my decision, but why would I not just maybe give him or her a shot to like give me some advice or not even just like they might even just like suggest something. It's not even about just like specifically advice or whatever. They might even say something like, "Yo, Trent, that shirt is super cool," and that right there might inspire your ass to go and design 3 or 4 more shirts like it if you were like a clothing brand, for example. And then you're thinking to yourself, "Okay, this person kind of sort of just helped me, like inadvertently or whatever," right? That's why only reason why I ask like or say like in the more recent weeks or whatever, recent months, I've kind of been chilling on that type of mentality of that I don't give it like when someone comes up to me and says something good or bad, I hit them with that. I don't give a shit what you think. Like I kind of been chilling on that because now I'm actually trying to like have see a little bit deeper into it. What's the motivation? I don't know.
yeah, I find it depends, like specifically who you ask for that feedback. Like it's also like who you give your energy to. It's the same basic principle. If you give that, like if you ask somebody who's just like not like the most positive person, or don't have like, I don't know, that's the best way I can put it, is not the most positive person, they're not going to give you the best feedback all the time. Like most of the time it'll be like stuff that's very discouraging that you don't want to hear. And sometimes you may need to hear that, but at the same time, if you're trying to do your own thing, that's not what you want to hear. Like you need to hear that, hey, this is good, but you need to fix this, sort of things. You know what I mean? Like that's constructive criticism as opposed to just criticism.
Yeah, and that's real shit because it's like it's dope that you said that people sometimes like depend on who it is, like you said, they sometimes bring in that like where you can kind of feel that it might be a little bit more of the man you just hate versus the constructive criticism. And it sucks because
Exactly.
that's 100% factual. Like those scenarios do happen more often than not. But I don't know. I think developing the ability to discern between the two. Okay, this person's genuine constructive criticism. Okay, this person out here is just out here hating, trying to tell me to do this, this, and this. But I already know if I do that, what they're trying to tell me, I'm gonna mess up and fail. All right, you clearly hate. Like it's like,
Nailed it.
but
Nailed it.
it's good. It's good though. It's good to, I guess, it's good to be able to discern between the two. Like, and then on top of that, just even be open or willing to even accept. Like once you discern between the two, be open or willing to accept it. Because that I don't give a damn type attitude, bro. Like I've realized within like my own experience and things like that, like it's kind of it could be not the only reason, sole reason, but it could be one of the reasons why like people start to stray away from whether it's significant others, whether it's father from son, mother from daughter, whatever the case is. Like it sucks, but like at a certain age, you get to it, whether it's in your mid-teens, early 20s, whatever. It's as if people get to that point of like, hey, bro, they understand like, yes, I gotta live for me, but at the same time, mom, I'm not trying to hear it, or dad, I'm not trying to hear it, and then they just kind of go about their day, and then you know what I mean? I don't
Mhm.
know. It's just something I think about sometimes.
It's also when you say to like when you said to like the parents and stuff like that, it has to be like, okay, so that was how you did things back then. Things now are way different than it was back then, sort of thing. So it's just like you got to take some of that with a grain of salt. Like you can take the mentality and all that with it, but at the same time, like some of the methods about going to do it is just not applicable these days and age, like this day and age at all. Like,
No, yeah, and
but
that's the thing
that's
that
all I can say. But at the same time, parents are still your parents, and you still gotta take some of their advice, anyways. I guess. I guess
no, but that's
depends on the advice,
no,
really.
no, but see, that's the thing, though, Trent. Hear me out. Things are different, but things are exactly the same, bro. You still have to be able to give your child, granted, if you have a child with a woman who you care about, love, etc., you still got to be able to give that child like a stable foundation so that they know, all, like whenever they do go into the world and are ready to hunt and are ready to excel, whatever, that they're at least prepared with certain tools. Because, for example, if we just have the mentality of the I'm gonna blow you off, like, mom, I don't want to hear it. Pops, I don't want to hear it. You're old. Mom, I don't want to hear it. You're old, or whatever. What that turns into is now the streets is gonna have to teach you, or the outside, so to speak. Not streets. Not trying to make it into like a some type of cultural thing. I'm saying it like now, like out whatever the outside world has to offer, good or bad, you have to find out on your own because you were too headstrong or too like arrogant in the sense of what your parents, aka the people, especially if they show you they love you from birth till now, the people who care about you the most, it's like we sometimes just shun them off. And it's good that we're using parents as an example because it's easy to shun off a friend or tell a friend, nah, man, I ain't trying to hear it because that's just the homie in your opinion, right? And then,
Mm-hmm.
but with parents, it's a little deeper, bro, because their sole purpose is to make sure you good. Their sole purpose is not saying again, not every parent is perfect, but I'm just saying ideally their sole purpose is to make sure you as their son or daughter are good. So when it comes to like constructive criticism or even being open to it, bruh, sometimes I feel like yeah, like we things are different, like you said, but they're the same because it's like the foundational aspects, learning how to treat yourself, learning how to love yourself. If you have parents who teach you these things, so that when you go in the world, you're not out here shitting on other people, beating up other people. I don't know. It's just I kind of think all these, even though they're all small instances, I feel like they're all interconnected. You know what I mean?
100%.
But
100%.
yeah, just something I was thinking about.
It and another thing you said there too, like those tools to learn those things. Like I find like, yeah, your parents are a great base to help learn that stuff. Like to like if you're set off with like a good base, you know what I mean? Like if you have like those morals and those foundations to start with, and then you go from there. But some people don't have that good base and they have to learn, like you said, through the streets, for lack of a better term. Um, and it's still like, and I look at it still as all like a learning process still, like even to this day you're still trying to work. It's always the thing is like we're always working on trying to be the best version of ourselves and trying to be a better person than we were yesterday basically. So I don't know, man. It's definitely interconnected, but it's definitely some people have a better base to start off with life, like whatever else financially and morally or whatever else. I'm not saying the two are interconnected, but whatever else.
Yeah,
And some people just aren't. And then but those people who don't have that better base also can learn the same things you and I have learned and come to the same realizations you and I have learned, just different routes. That's basically it. But yeah, it definitely helps when you have a good base to start out with. That's for damn sure.
even going off that, bro, you have people out here who like, because like you were saying, like financial and morals and ethics, etc., not necessarily interconnected. Because you have some people with one dope parents, ethically sound, trying to raise them up to be a outstanding citizen, but might not be financially strong, versus the opposite. But it's like all these things also like they shape how you view the world in the sense of you being willing to take advice or some type of like from whether it's family or close people who you now like hold dear, whether it's friends who you brought into your life and chose to put in your experience. So you have a little bit of value in what they say, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's having the ability to actually see, having the ability to actually see what they're like, where they're coming from, and try to understand. Okay, asking them to elaborate, asking them to go deeper on the fact of like them telling you examples of maybe how to improve your experience. And because, like you said, it's you who has to deal with you. Obviously, they can suggest something and then you do it, and then the outcome is what they had thought, but it's not the best outcome for you. So then it's like, well, damn, that was good advice, but and even though we got to the outcome, like it's not necessarily what I was looking for. So that's why there's always that going to be. I feel like there's always going to be that tug of war, despite us reasoning through it and trying to, I sometimes feel like, dang, it makes you think there might always be that tug of war because ultimately, yes, we have to make our own decision at the end of
That's
it.
the compromise, though, right? That's the
Mm,
middle ground where if you're really trying to be amicable and trying to come to an agreement with another party, that's what the middle ground is, the compromise. And yeah, you don't always get what you want with compromise, but it's better than getting nothing, I guess.
there, yeah, that's actually a super. That's actually a critical point because a lot of people love to try to have their cake, to get the cake and eat it too, or have their cake and eat it too, however you want to say the phrase. And it's like that's where a lot of us, in my opinion, use time in not the most proficient manner, aka just waste an abundance of time, man. Like because it's like you want to in compromise, like and it sucks because it's like no one, unfortunately, no one's ever gonna 100% like maybe match you. But if you can get a solid 87%, that other 13%, aka the compromise, that's cool. Or 75%, that other 25% of compromise, that's cool. But a lot of people won't see it that way because no, it's my way or the highway. Unfortunately, a lot of people have that mentality, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes back to what as we're talking about earlier. It's just like, what is your like? Do you even have the capability to hear something of value or importance? And though that person might not be exactly where you are, whether it's financially, morally, they might be quote unquote lower than you. Them giving you super important information and you just shitting on it because you look at them and say, "Oh nah, bro, you ain't on my level. Why should I listen to you, bro?" That's how a lot of us be losing out here. And then a lot of times, like you might have like a great team around you, and because you have that leadership role, you have some type of ego or some type of you're a tyrant in some way, and then now all of a sudden those good people around your team are leaking all your information, and so that's why I kind of asked the question at the very start, where it's just like, does one have the capability of seeing like constructive criticism or some type of advice, like counsel or advice, and are you willing to even accept it? And two, it's like, oh sorry, number two is, and are you even willing to accept it? Yeah, so it's like, man, shit.
Well, you made a great point there. As soon as you said the team around you and you're the leadership role, that's like power, right? And power corrupts. That's just facts. And especially in like that, we're like, especially if it's not like the right people around you, pardon me, instead of like people saying, well, no, this isn't a great idea, instead of it all just being yes, 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 sort of thing,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be a bad thing. But it really comes down to like the person, the people around you, and to the extent of that power as well, too, basically. And that's also a problem with the power structure to begin with, but I'm not going to get into that.
I mean, shit. Hey, bro, I feel you. And without even, you don't even have to go like super deep. I just look at it like you being beyond, and not even just being corrupted, but it's like over time you being put in more and more situations that are feeding the ego, making you get to a point of big headedness, Trent, where you're just like, oh shit, everything I say these people are gonna do, literally everything, shit, I gotta do this, I gotta take advantage of this, opposed to everything these people are everything I say these people are gonna do. So let's make the most proficient moves, the most you know what I mean, like not even positive, but just the most progressive, like what can move us forward if this is what if moving forward is what we're trying to do, bro. Like those two different, like, cause it's the exact same thing you're saying, but you just the intent behind both statements. Oh my goodness, you know what I mean? It's like that's the beauty, that's the difference between the beauty and because it's such a the yin and the yang, right? There's such that,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like I don't know, man. I think about it like as we're moving forward in life and as we're stepping forward and making moves and trying to get our lives together and try to be mentally strong, mentally stable. It just makes you think of these types of things because we're all going to be put in these positions. Granted, we're working to get there. We're all going to be put in these positions of power, whether it's or a position of when you need different type of counsel or different type of um, advice, constructive criticism. You need a deeper conversation, a deeper understanding. You need these different things, and you're unwilling to accept or even see that someone's trying to come to you humbly with us. You know what I mean? Something to improve us. It just makes you think, man. As I'm getting a little older, it just makes you think, you know?
Mm-hmm. That's for sure.
Yeah, man. Um, I don't know. I feel like this is a good topic to touch on, like because I feel like sometimes it's all right to hone in on a subject. Sometimes it's cool to bounce all over, but yeah, man, because I just appreciate the fact of knowing, okay, there are people who are within my group of friends or people who I like building with or who have the capability and ability and you know what I mean, like to move forward essentially, to grow essentially. Because I'm not sure, but you may have heard that quote like, and I apologize because I don't remember exactly who said it, but it's like anything that's not growing is dead, so to speak. So it's like understanding that you have people around you and people who you counsel on the daily and talk to on the daily who share similar thoughts or share a similar goal, so to speak. That shit is beautiful, you know. That's why I enjoy having these conversations. You know,
I agree. I 100% agree, sir.
we gotta. It's a good thing. It's a really good thing, Trigger. Um,
I wonder if there's I wonder if there's what's it called? Because I was watching this home renovation show, bro, and like this guy was building a house in Florida or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and the first thing they did was when they after because it's like I'm just give it a shout out. It is what it is, but it's called like 100 Days Dream Home or something like that. Basically, they build your home in 100 days, or the company tries to build the home in 100 days, the dream home or whatever. But yo, first thing they do when they build a nice backyard, they put two cornhole uh
Of
goals.
course they did. Fuck.
I was crying, Trent. My bad. It took me a minute to get it because I was trying to remember exactly what. But yeah, yo, and I was crying because it was like I'm not like no judgment, but this was a Caucasian couple. It is what it
Oh
is.
yeah.
No judgment.
Oh yeah.
This was a white couple, but yeah, bro. When their dream home was built or whatever, bro. My man was like, "Oh shoot, let's get it going." That's at the third, and like so, Buddy, who built the house, and his wife versus the guys whose house it was and wife. I
Oh my
was
god.
crying. I'm like, this is some of the funniest shit I've seen here. But
Honestly, it's a fun game to play when you've been drinking. Like it's
that's what it
a
was. Because
good day drinking game right there.
yeah, because
Ooh.
that's what it was, Trent. That's why I'm crying because he was like, now me and the boys, because originally he lived in Brooklyn, him and his wife or whatever lived in Brooklyn in a really small apartment. So on the rooftop of their apartment, they be playing cornhole and those types of horseshoe or whatever, them types of games or whatever. Bro, I'm crying.
Christ.
But anyway, I say all that to say, then you take it down to them moving to Florida, and then it's like they're just doing their thing. And then so when he gets to the backyard and like he loves the home or whatever, and then when he get to the backyard, there's like a little jacuzzi, and then there's like the cornhole. And there's like another one where it's like, I don't know, it looked like horseshoe, but it looked like there was like wooden stakes and like I don't know. I'm not even trying to be judgmental or nothing, but I don't know what certain white people games are
Probably
as
a
far as
fucking cornhole league in Florida, like a national, like a friggin' state level competition. Like, oh my god.
they got team jerseys and stuff, bro. They got the armbands and stuff with like Steph Curry in them, like the football players with the big long basketball sleeves so you don't sweat, your arm doesn't sweat.
Oh my god.
Yo.
All sponsored by John Deere, Jack Links in Copenhagen. My god.
Oh. He goes to the white
Man Hassan, what kind of caucasity is this?
straight up, yo.
Oh,
He says, what kind
Jesus
of podcast?
Christ.
That's the facts, bro. That's facts. That's facts. Oh my goodness.
That's too white even for me. So there you go.
That's funny as shit. It's too white for me. Nah, bro, that's funny. That's funny. Yeah, man. As I'm sitting out here, it's hella quiet and like now, like random like elderly ladies are coming on their balcony staring at me like, who is this young man laughing with? Nah, they don't understand that I'm on a phone.
They don't want to know.
Bro, I'm not. They probably think I'm sitting here talking to my damn self. No,
Probably.
Little Fluffy's on her balcony barking. All right, can you hear the dog barking? Can you hear it?
Yep.
Yeah. Damn. Okay. You know what? All right, bro. You know what? Let's get it. Let's wrap it up before we have the rest of the episode with dog barks. The last 10 minutes with dog barks. But nah, bro. It's just funny. It's funny as ever because it all came together. Because I was watching it, I'm like, no, me and Trent were just talking about this. Buddy's out here, and he's good. He's pretty good too. Like he's dropping them in there. I'm just like, I'm laughing because I'm like, yo, this guy's a professional. But it was one of those things where I'm like, yo, this is why that movie that we were talking about, or short film or comedy or whatever, has to happen, bro. Has to happen. But yeah, Trigger. If anything, though, yeah, man. If anything, we can rap though. You know what I mean? But that was so funny. That was so funny, bro.
Fucking dying just thinking about it now.
Because that's what it is. You get put in a situation where you see professional cornhole players, and like you said, they're sponsored by John Deere, and I'm trying to think of all the other. He said, "What in the caucasity?" Oh my gosh, that's so funny. That's funny, bro. But yeah, man, that's what it is. Yeah, to the people listening, yo, bro, if you can, of course, don't get me wrong, live how you live, but in my opinion, it's just like in some situations, you got to try to learn and listen to people who love you. Not about doing what they say, but about just hearing what they're saying and understanding in your own journey, is what they're saying even making sense? Can I add it? Can I discard it? But just that willingness to at least listen. You know what I mean? I don't know. Any closing thoughts for you, bro?
I couldn't have said it any better right there.
Shit, we out here. It's another episode. I'm Graham.
I'm Trent.
We out here, bro. Ultra Fly Talk. Me and my boy out here, we gonna start a professional corn dog league, bro. Y'all gonna have to join up. Now, cornhole, corn dog, all that shit.
Oh, God.
All right, play. Yo, Trent.